the VCA Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Marie Kerl. Our goal with the VCA Voice is to showcase how VCA Animal Hospitals is taking care of the future of veterinary medicine. We'll bring our purpose to life through meaningful conversations about care, our culture, and the communities we serve. On today's episode, I'm happy to welcome Martha Smith. Martha is the Chief Client Officer at VCA Animal Hospitals. Welcome, Martha. How are you today?
I'm well, and yourself? I'm so excited to be here.
I'm really excited that you're here too, and I'm doing well, and I think we should just jump right into some questions.
Love it.
Not being a veterinarian, you've had a different career path than most people that are on the show. So tell me a little bit about your career path and how you found your way to marketing.
I started really in writing and editing as kind of the first part of my career. I'm a super passionate editor because I love the strategy of it. I remember always really connecting to Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, who at one point early in his Twitter career had said, as CEO, my main job is editor-in-chief. The strategy of editing really is something that kind of connected with me. And so I was working through increasingly strategic roles. But what really pushed me into marketing specifically was my graduate work. So I have a master's in English. And in that work, I was really focused on the construction and performance of identity, which is really correlated to brand and marketing in that your identity is who you are on the inside and your brand is maybe the expression that you put out into the external world. So that kind of theoretical interest kind of pushed me more and more into various marketing roles. In general, working through kind of startup lens with smaller companies. I got into the pet industry through a company that was working with natural vitamins and supplements for dogs and kind of found my way to VCA from there.
So you joined VCA and tell me about that.
I had joined the pet startup to start a social media strategy for them. It was in the very infancy of brands really having social media. And VCA was also an early adopter at that time. And so I got connected with the VCA brand in that way. With my experience on the line of vitamins and supplements, when a product manager role opened up at VCA, the then head of marketing reached out to me to see if I would be interested. So I joined VCA in the role of product manager, working on the brand of private label parasiticides and shampoos that they had at that time.
Not being originally from the veterinary or pet industry, what do you really like? Why have you stayed in veterinary medicine?
I mean, I've stayed in veterinary medicine because I've stayed at VCA primarily. And what I've found here that I really love is the common purpose. Everybody who works at VCA just truly has a huge passion for pets and their people. And that's something that I'm super passionate about as well. Even though VCA is a big company, what I've found is a culture that is really entrepreneurial and that is really focused on experimentation and trying things and being scrappy and figuring out what are the best ways to make the biggest difference for our patients and our clients. And that's something that I'm really excited about.
So you were recently promoted to Chief Client Officer, and congratulations, first off.
Thank you.
And with that promotion, you were able to join the senior leadership team. So I get to work with you more closely, which is exciting.
Yeah.
What is a Chief Client Officer anyway?
Prior to my promotion, I was heading up our brand and marketing teams. If you think about it, brand and marketing is really what is that external story that we're telling to the world? How are we educating people? How are we talking to people? With the promotion to Chief Client Officer, what that role does is it brings that brand and marketing side together with the client-focused side from an experience and a support perspective. So this gives me the opportunity to really pull together the universes that are both telling the external story and building the internal experience to help make sure that what the client is experiencing when they entrust us with their pet and give us the opportunity to care for their pet is a lived experience that's very consistent with the expectation that we've built about what VCA has to offer.
And I've honestly, since I joined VCA, have been impressed by that strong focus that we place on our clients as well as on our patients. Share why the client journey is important to the health and welfare of our patients and making sure that they get the best quality care.
I think of our clients, so pet owners, as being, frankly, our biggest partner in making sure that our patients have the absolute best care. And really, it's because they're the advocates for their pets. One of the most challenging things I think about pet ownership is our pets can't actually speak to us and tell us what they want and tell us what they need. And so the client is really the window into what's going on with the pet that gives us the ability to diagnose, to understand, to recommend, and to support. And so really understanding what that client journey is, knowing what their state of mind is, what they're feeling when they're coming into a hospital with their pet is really critical to being able to get the most out of that client to understand how best to serve the pets. In human health, I find it to be very similar to pediatrics or geriatrics, where the patient is maybe not necessarily in a position to advocate for themselves. And so they have a caregiver, either a parent or a family member of some sort, that's there really connecting with the medical professionals. I view it really in the same way. And so making sure that we're really connected to the pet owners, so the caregiver in this case, is the best way to do the best for the pets.
How is that communication and education piece important to clients? I sometimes think as a veterinarian, we speak over our client's head. How can we nuance and work on that message?
One of the things that we see from our pet owners is they really want to be able to come in and feel like they know how to ask the right questions and really understand the feedback that they're getting. So some of the things that we try to do from a client education perspective are prime them with information beforehand. And that's why marketing in the veterinary industry is so critical, because we're all, regardless of which company we're marketing, we're all working to create essentially public health information about animal health and about what pets need, with the goal of pet owners seeing that kind of out in the universe, learning a little bit, and then being able to come in and feel armed with the information to ask the right questions. And then when recommendations are made by their doctors, to understand those a little bit better. And then I think in the hospital, we try to carry that education right through, where topics we might be talking about on social media or on our websites. We've also got brochures in the hospital that maybe go into a little bit more detail, or posters or things like that, so that the client can see, understand, and also feel equipped to ask.
So why is that client journey vital for all of our associates to embrace? And how does the client journey intersect with the associate journey in our practices?
The client journey is really critical in that it's not the same all the time, right? It changes, it moves through different phases. Your journey, if you think back to, any pets that you've owned, when you have a puppy or a kitten, what you're looking for is very, very different than when you've got a 4-year-old or a 9-year-old or a 12-year-old. And so that journey, not only through the pet's life, but also through the various phases of getting care, figuring out which veterinarian I want to go see, making that first appointment, having that first visit, going through all of the emotions related to that. Those are all really critical moments where the pet owner wants to make the right decision for their pet. And so us being able to really help them navigate that journey effectively and efficiently and easily. Ease is one of the core things I think that clients want these days. They don't want to feel like things are difficult. They want to feel like they've got a clear path to what they're looking for, which of course is the best health for their pet. I think that's where the client journey is really, really critical. And where the associate experience really intersects with that is that the two are completely interrelated. The way a client shows up in a hospital can totally affect the way a client service representative or a veterinarian feels in that moment. And by the same token, the energy that our care teams bring to their clients can really have an impact there too. I think the magic happens when we understand what that client journey is and really work on empathizing with where that client is in that moment and what their needs are. And then we can show up in the most supportive way. And that's where I think our clients and associates are best equipped to work together to get to the best solutions for the patients.
Martha, shortly after I joined the senior leadership team in my position, in the midst of COVID in 2021, you led the project for our brand refresh. How long did that process take before the launch happened, and why was that important?
The work on the brand refresh took about 18 months behind the scenes. The reason why that took so long is, frankly, because we wanted to make sure we were getting it right. VCA is a 37-year-old company at that time, and it was really a weighty responsibility to take a look at refreshing a brand that had been around for, almost 4 decades, that had really come to mean something in the marketplace and be so critical in the lives and health of pets.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that 18 months, really what we did, and frankly, the most powerful tool that we had throughout that process, was listening. So we went to associates, we did interviews, we did focus groups, we did surveys. We wanted to hear from them. Who is VCA? What is VCA? How would you describe VCA? What is your experience? What do you think clients experience? And then by the same token, we went to our existing clients and asked them very similar questions. And then we went to pet owners that had not yet experienced inside a VCA hospital, but were maybe familiar with who we were as a company, to kind of get their take and their insights.
Mm-hmm.
Really, what a brand is the story of the identity of a company. And we didn't feel like we could put that story together at all without getting the take of all of our most important stakeholders on what the identity of that company was. And so with the feedback from our associates, with the feedback from our clients and pet owners, we were able to take a look at shaping what that core story was. And at the end of the day, it wasn't very different from the story we had always been telling about exceptional pet healthcare and superior client experience. It just got reworded a little bit into world-class medicine and hometown care. And the refresh, the rollout of that internally, frankly, was one of the more interesting things. And it really helped us feel like we had done the right thing by taking so long and being so methodical in doing the listening, because we really felt, as each hospital was learning about the new story or the refreshed story and seeing the new brand artifacts, they were really able to see themselves and the feedback they had provided and the stories that they had told in the brand refresh that we had been able to put together. So I really see it as kind of like a co-authorship amongst thousands and thousands of people, because it was really, all we were doing was capturing the story that the company itself was telling us through the voices of our associates and our clients.
Are there any favorite moments that you remember from that period, either within VCA or from the outside?
One of the moments that really sticks with me and honestly makes me emotional is right before we started going out to hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
We had the opportunity to sit down with our 3 founders, so Bob and Art Anton and Neil Tauber, and share with them the work that we had pulled together from the voices of our associates and our clients. And that's kind of a scary moment, right?
Very scary.
The people who built the original brand and have worked through it and grown the company for almost 40 years, and sharing with them kind of what's new and where we're going to take it in the future. They too, I was watching them as they were kind of, absorbing and ingesting the information. They really felt seen in the story that the associates and the clients had told about the company. And that was really, again, another note that really felt like we had captured the right story.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some really fun moments as well, a little bit more lighthearted. One of our associates got a tattoo of the new brand mark after being inspired during the brand rollout that she experienced. We've got lots of nail art going on in lots of our different scenarios. But really, it's the way that the associates have leaned into the concepts that, again, we were always working through the lens of, but now we have the language to really talk about it more explicitly, the world-class medicine and the hometown care. They're always posting examples of, this is how hometown care is showing up in our hospital. This doctor did this, or this technician did this. And isn't this a great example of hometown care? And that really makes me feel good, because it feels like the refresh gave our associates a bit more language through which they could continue telling the story that we've always been here to tell. Each hospital has its own personality. And I mean, frankly, each hospital was its own independent business at one time or another. And so they've really retained that personality and identity, while at the same time leaning into who we are as VCA and really helping to support. I mean, our culture at VCA is made up of the legacy of all of the hospitals that are within our system.
I really love the aspect of taking care of the future of veterinary medicine, which also came out of that work. Tell me a little bit about that and what that means to you.
Taking care of the future of veterinary medicine is the purpose of VCA. That's really what we're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that language is really the pull quote that actually came directly from our recent president, Dr. Todd Lavender, in one of the interviews that we did with him during the brand process. And it really just felt like that kind of lightning bolt language that really encapsulated what we're here to do at VCA. From a medical perspective, we have been leading the way in the industry for, decades. We started fecal tests as a regular scenario. We've been leading the way with hands-free radiology. We're leading in so many ways and really setting the bar within the industry for what excellence in veterinary medicine looks like. And in more recent years, we've really been reimagining and innovating against what that best client experience should be and associate experience. And so through those three angles of, what is that excellent medical care? What is that exceptional client experience? And what is the best associate experience? Our ability and our desire and our drive to innovate against those three things is what will help take care of the future of veterinary medicine going forward.
I'm going to change our focus a little bit now because you and I recently had a discussion about some marketing research that you've conducted about what new pet owners are looking for at the start of life with their pet. What were some of the learnings from that research?
One of the things we learned, again, just from a client journey standpoint, where are they before we talk about what they want? New pet owners, probably unsurprisingly, are super overwhelmed. They're looking for advice. They're looking for information. They want to do the right thing. Puppy and kitten ownership is maybe a little bit more than they remembered it was or they thought it was going to be. I certainly was in that position. I got a puppy about a year ago, and we've had puppies before, but somehow you just forget what that entire scenario is like.
Uh-huh.
And so there's really kind of those feelings of overwhelm and where do I get the information and what do I need to know? We asked a number of pet owners with new puppies and kittens, if you could improve the veterinary experience, what would you do? And that's where we got really the most interesting answers. What they told us was they wanted a detailed plan for the health journey of their pet. What should they be looking for at month 2, month 3, month 6, month 9? What are the things that they need to do along that journey?
Mm-hmm.
They also told us that they really want comprehensive care, and they're thinking about care in a broader sense than the traditional kind of veterinary medicine, your shots and your health care. They're thinking about it in terms of behavioral support, socialization support. They want to know what the development milestones are that they should be looking for in their puppies and kittens and how they can be supporting the healthy development.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for a guidebook that walks them through what they should be doing. Essentially, in having these conversations, what they were describing really felt to me like a journey that you would have in human pediatric medicine, right? You've got very specific milestones that human babies go through, and you've got a very specific plan that you get from your pediatrician and all of these different things. That really struck me as the parallel that they were describing, but not necessarily in so many words, literally asking for.
So, Martha, have pet owners changed over time with regards to the care they're seeking for their pet?
They absolutely have in a couple of really important ways. So first, as pets have become bigger and bigger parts of our lives, we see more, we want more, we look for more things for our pets. And that really has changed the way that pet owners are looking to care for their pet. It's very similar to the way that they might care for any other member of their family. They want to make sure we've got the right diets. They want to make sure that we've got the right preventive health care. They want to make sure that they're having a great experience, not just that they have a veterinarian or have a care provider, but they're having a really exceptional experience with that care provider, the same way we would expect from human medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I think these trends are going to get even more pronounced as we move into the next generation of pet owners. We're starting to see Gen Z pet owners, the oldest of whom are, 25, 27 years old at this point. So they're really coming from a different baseline than older generations have. And our data indicates that 34% of Gen Z pet owners purchased a pet in the last 3 years to help boost their mental health. So they're really having a much, much stronger, deeper, more emotional connection to their pets. than previous generations have.
Yeah.
The great news is that in general, our Gen Z pet owners are looking to veterinarians for the authority for their health information. I think that's maybe a reaction to the previous generation where millennials were really influenced by kind of social media influencers. Now the Gen Z group will get information on social media, but they really want to have it validated by an expert that they truly believe in. So we are going to see a return to that core focus on the veterinarian as the key source of reliable health information. These are pet owners that want to have a 24/7 live chat with their veterinary service. They want to be able to have digital connections. They want to be able to book online. They want to be able to do all these things in a very digital manner because this is a digital first generation. They didn't experience anything outside of that. That is something that we're really going to have to accelerate to meet the needs of tomorrow's pet owners.
So as a veterinarian, I want for all pets to be in loving homes and receive the care that they deserve. And you and I have very different areas of expertise, but how are we moving together to accomplish this goal?
I think it's really in that partnership. So the partnership between the medical side and the client services side is really that sweet spot of where we're going to be able to provide the absolute best experience. And frankly, the promise of VCA is all about the combination of those two things, the world-class medicine and the hometown care. So from a medical standpoint, you're leading the teams that are really providing that world-class medicine and really leading with that exceptional care. And my group has the privilege and honor of working with the clients from a journey perspective and from an experience perspective to make sure that we're supporting them through the best experience so that they can make the best decisions about the medical recommendations that the doctors and care teams are making for them. And with the partnership of those two elements, I think that's where we're going to end up with the best outcomes for our pets.
If you could give a message to the folks directly in our hospitals who are working with our clients, is there anything you'd like to share with them about that immediate one-on-one experience?
Anything that I would want to share with our associates in hospital always has to start with a huge thank you. So much gratitude to our care teams for the work that they do every single day with our clients and our patients. In terms of having that face-to-face interaction with clients, one of the things that I always do for myself is how would I want to be treated in this situation? What's the experience that I would be looking for? And how can I work to provide that for the person that's in front of me, regardless of what may be going on in my day? The environment in a veterinary hospital is so dynamic and cases are so different from one another. And truly, our care teams go through an emotional roller coaster every single day.
Well, I completely agree. And it has been an absolute delight getting to hear some perspectives from your field and how we intersect and are able to work together to help our patients and our clients.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to leave a review to let us know your thoughts and share the episode with friends. Follow VCA Animal Hospitals on social media at LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. For more inspiring stories, visit our website at vcavoice.com.